Have you ever gone to cast your commander and the game has just said, nope, no responses, no tricks, and no panic tapping your lands? That is Split Second in a nutshell. And in today's episode, I'm going to be explaining to you why Split Second is more broken than people think. Hi, I'm Corridor WCJ and welcome to Commander Class, episode 155. Today we're going to be talking about the keyword Split Second. The easiest way to explain Split Second is it stops the stack. You cannot activate creatures and you cannot play any spells on top. It is pretty much goes everything is at a halt until this is solved. Once it is cast, pretty much everything you see has to resolve. But a quick shot plug before we go any further. If you like these Commander Class breakdowns or like what I do with the other TCG content, please go buy yourself something nice from my small little Etsy shop where I have t-shirts and hoodies that people can enjoy. All of it goes to helping the channel out and all that usual YouTuber stuff people always ask for. But now let's go back to ruining interactions. So how does Split Second work in Commander and how is it scary? Once a Split Second spell is being activated, pretty much everyone has to stop what they're doing and let it resolve. There's no countering these type of spells. There's no going in response, I want to make this stack bigger. It pretty much just goes, I don't like how big this is getting. I want to put a stop on it, so here I go. Players can still tap their lands, but most of the time there is no reason to. Triggered abilities that are already on the stack will also resolve, but Split Second is really powerful for many reasons. One of the ways is a combo player, pretty much a storm deck or something like that. You can go, no, I don't like this giant thing you're building, I'm going to put a stop to it. Even if this spell doesn't really help, it stops them from storming off, and then you might get a little bit of help from the card you've played. It is also brutal versus counter spells. Pretty much if you can kind of guess that one of your opponents have a counter spell, you can go, yeah, no, I'm going to play Split Second right after this if they think you're going to copy a spell or something like that. So then both your spells resolve and then they don't be able to really counter spell it. I really do think these are good at high powered decks, mainly because it stops the game completely and lets everyone have time to breathe and lets you kind of go, I'm putting a halt on other things. I do think Split Second is one of those keywords that is powerful when you use it right, but not many people know how to use it right. I find when it comes to Split Second, it's not flashy at all, and that's what mainly people want to go to when it comes to having fun or building around their deck. They want the fun, flashy thing. Split Second is boring and there's not many cards of it. However, it is one of those, it helps you win cards. But now you know how Split Second works and what it does, you may be thinking, I know one or two cards that have Split Second, there isn't that many. There isn't that many, however there's more than you think of and some of them are more powerful than you can think. So I've done a smaller list of the rares and mythics that have the ability Split Second. But let's go through some of the Split Second cards that you might see in a Commander game. You get cards just like Angel's Grace. This card is really good to give you that extra turn you need. It stops pretty much the combo player going off or the storm player going off, and then you get to go, I have one more turn to try and win this card, and for 1 mana this is absolutely great. It is also great in your deck for combo insurance or a last second survival card. And the other thing about it is that because it has Split Second, it means it actually resolves and you don't have to worry about getting countered or anything like that. It is a card that pretty much just goes, I need an extra turn to win, this guarantees it. Then we have Extirpate. This card is not as powerful in Commander than it is in others, however it is really good because it has Graveyard Hate. You're able to pretty much get a card from someone's graveyard, hand or library, which is really good. And then it also makes sure that they shuffle, so if they have a scry deck or anything like that, it then messes up with that. This also stops those decks that constantly bring stuff back from their graveyard. For 1 black mana, every time they have a combo piece from their graveyard, you get to go no, or from their hand or library. You pretty much go, I know what combo piece you have, I'm going to get rid of it with this amazing card. We have Into Deep, which isn't one of the best lockdown problematic permanent cards, but however, it is still quite good for a 2 mana to be able to do it and be able to stop someone's creature right off its tracks, and you being able to pretty much go, I don't need to do anything else, this makes sure this is guaranteed that you are no longer a bother or a pain to me. A lot of the cards that do this form of ability always usually get countered or has a high chance to get countered. This makes it unavoidable. It is a great answer for people's commanders or engines depending on what card they play. Inventory management. This card for 2 mana is absolutely broken, especially if you have some form of feather deck or a deck that does that type of I need a Voltron artifacts and enchantments, because you pretty much just go, I want to put all of them onto this creature and no one can stop me, and then I'm going to one-shot the person that wanted to try and stop me or the most strongest player in the game. If you build a deck around having a commander that is a Voltron commander and you put a bunch of auras and equipments into that deck, for 2 mana putting them all on the one creature to Voltron summon out of a game is absolutely hilarious in my opinion. Legless's quick reflexes. For 1 green, you gotta give your creature pretty much pseudo vigilance, give it hexproof and reach so it gets to block flyers and not be targeted by spells or abilities. And then whenever the creature attacks, it pretty much borderlines fights something, which is also good. That is a lot of keywords and a lot of abilities to put on a 1 mana card that cannot be stopped. Kunoth is one of the only creatures I believe that have this ability, so having a creature that pretty much stops the stack is a weird card that pretty much never has been seen or not seen at all. And then when you do get to play it, it also has Shroud, so again, it cannot be targeted at all. And it is a constant, if someone's playing hand destruction, it is a constant way to get it back to your hand to be able to stop the stack at any needs necessary. The only downfall for this card is it doesn't have flash, and it's 6 mana for a 4/5. Stonewood Invocation. This is a normal green classic buff spell. The main reason I like it is I've played a few games where I've buffed my own creature and they're like, no, that's getting too big, I'm going to counter it, or there's other things they do. Where with this, the target creature I want gets +5/+5. I usually do this if I am going to do it, put this card last, so I then play usually in red-green, give it like +2, +3, whatever, few keywords abilities, and then play this last out of the cards I'm planning on playing, mainly because I don't want to screw myself over. This card requires a little bit more thinking than the rest, but still a really good card. Sudden Spoiling, I do think is not the best version. I do think just a classic murder, in my opinion, is better. However, if you've gone an all-out an attack and someone's gone to block the creature you want living, this is quite a good card because, again, you play it for instant speed, making sure that the creature that you want to live is going to destroy the creature that they wanted to destroy your creature with. And then with split second on the thing, they cannot counter it or stop you. So it is kind of a kill spell, but it's kind of like, the way I see it, is a kind of black version of a fight spell or a way to just make a creature weaker that you're able to destroy it. Personally, I would just have right out murdered it, but if you're afraid you're going to get countered, this is a good variation for it. Sudden Substitution. This one is a lot of mana in my opinion for what it does. 4 mana to be able to pretty much swap something is good depending on what you swap. However, 4 mana for it is not the best. I would rather just play differently. But for people that do like exchanging cards and stuff like that, I do think this is a good thing. Again, mainly because split seconds just stops. So if you really want something, this is a great way to swap something you don't care that you own for something that they have that is really powerful. And then Trick Bind. It's kind of weird having a counter spell that cannot be countered. However, this only counters activated or triggered abilities of permanent. So again, it's less fun, but for 2 mana, I do think you get what it is worth. You're able to stop something if you're doing it and it activates on someone's permanent. Then they can't do anything with that permanent for the rest of the turn, and then it stops the stack. For 2 mana, I do think it is somewhat a powerful counterspell. Vats. Vats is a unique card in my opinion. It's pretty much a kind of explosion, but for only certain circumstances. If you kill a 2/2 creature, then all 2/2 creatures are then destroyed. It's hard to get all the creatures you want because there's probably 2 creatures you want gone, but they have different toughnesses. But again, this can destroy maybe 3 to 5 creatures in a normal game. For 4 mana, I do think it's worth it, especially because, again, cannot be removed. It is pretty much just going, I want to make sure that these things are dead. 4 mana to guarantee kill one thing and then pop off other things. Sometimes hitting your own creatures, but again, that's something you have to kind of live with. Is quite a good card. Word of Seizing. This one, in my opinion, is probably the worst card on this list. Again, if you think differently, let me know. There is way too many cards out there that are better. I'm going to take your permanent, attack it, and then give it back at the end of turn. A lot of people, when they actually do play these type of cards, usually sacrifice the creature afterwards. I've actually built a full deck around it, that the whole point is I'm going to steal your creatures, attack you with them, and then in my main phase 2, sacrifice them for resources. So I'm pretty much taking your stuff, sacrificing your stuff, and getting better for it. This is a weird deck, but it was really fun to play. And they're usually 4 or 5 mana with an additional benefit, where the additional benefit for this is that it stops the stack and can't be countered. So again, it is quite good for that if you want to guarantee. However, I would rather high risk, high reward type of play and play a better version of this card. Most of these cards, or all of these cards, have different variations in other sets that do different variations of things. I do think people prioritize them than they do this, because they go, I would rather like the +1/+1 extra than this card here that just has Split Second. I do think Split Second is a really powerful ability, but not many people use it because they might have 2 or 3 games that they never needed it. Where that one game they did need it, screwed them over, but they've won the previous 2. So again, they put in the cards that they think will help them win better, that are more flashy. And I think that's the biggest problem with Split Second. It is not a flashy, I'm going to do the amazing thing. It's, I'm going to stop the flashy thing and just win more. And people find that quite, not boring, but they're just like, oh, you stopped me from doing the cool thing, I can't do anything anymore. That's not cool. Oh, you've just like destroyed my artifact, or you've just done something a basic card does. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't like this. If you're sitting there thinking, I actually do like Split Second cards, but I don't think they belong in every single deck. What type of decks do they actually do well in? Well, here is some variations of deck that actually Split Second works better than just your average normal deck. One is control decks, mainly because, again, if you want to make sure that no one's storming off, some of these cards are exchanging or stealing or killing, that you're able to kind of control the board more, kind of stop, not someone's turn, but kind of stop someone's play at least. This kind of gives you that extra little bit of control, where the other cards in the deck would be able to control the other things. So again, you can counter like 2 people's things, and if they're like, haha, I have infinite mana now, I'm not going to listen to your counters. You go, okay, I'm just going to stop the stack then. What are you going to do then? So it gives that little bit extra control in a control deck. A deck that is heavily interactive as well. If you're playing a bunch of cards that when someone goes, oh cool, I want to play this, you go, oh cool, I want to play this, and then someone else goes, oh, I want to play this. It is really cool that you have the ability to shut it down whenever you want to shut it down. You're able to keep going and kind of making the stack grow and grow and grow. And when you're like, I think that's personally enough, boom, let's go through it. It gives you that ability to control the interactions of you and the other players, making sure that it doesn't get to the point that all of you need a math degree to be able to play that turn. And if the group of people you're playing with, or the group of people you know you are playing with, are a lot of bunch of combo players that love Izzet decks that have 2 or 3 Izzet decks each, or different colors of Izzet decks that pretty much do the same thing in their own unique, different colored ways, and you go, oh, they have the mindset of an Izzet player, I'm going to play with 3 of my friends that have that mindset, I'm going to bring this deck with a bunch of Split Second cards to stop them whenever I want. I've literally seen, I had a mate that had pretty much a full countered spell deck, and pretty much every turn everyone had to look at them and go, can I play this card? And he'll look at his hand and go, I have 4 counter spells, but this seems funny, go ahead. Split Second kind of gives you a weaker version of that ability. But one thing you should not do when it comes to Split Second is overdo it. Depending on what your deck does, get the Split Second cards that help with that deck, and then put it in. I would say max 4, but aim for 2. Mainly because there's no point putting in the thing that gives your creatures +5/+5 if you're playing not a really heavy creature deck. If you're putting in a bunch of just split second cards that do different things, you're eventually going to get to the point where you're not getting the right one and the card is just going to fumble, but the split second part. But my overall thoughts and opinions when it comes to split second. It is not the flashiest, but it is way more powerful than people think, and should people use it more? Yes, I do think so. It forces games to resolve on your terms, and you're able to, even if you lose the game, be able to go, at least it didn't go overboard. Overall, I would probably give it 8.5 out of 10. And maybe in a few years, we might be able to see Split Second get even more cards that are even more broken. But that is it for Split Second in Commander. If I've missed anything, or if there's any cards you absolutely love that you think I missed, or any keywords I should bring up next, let me know in the comments down below. Give your thoughts and opinions, or anything I can do to make these videos better, all in the comments down below. And while you're there, remember to like and subscribe and do all that YouTubey stuff we always ask and annoy you for. And as always, if you like this video, I have last week's Commander. I have last week's Commander class here, a playlist of all the Commander classes I make here, and a subscribe button here, and I shall see you all in the next video.